Have you ever replayed the same mistake over and over again in your mind, wishing there was somehow a way to delete that memory? Well, if so, stick around because you're not alone. Last week, we looked at the idea of forgiving other people, finally getting rid of that anger and bitterness that has been holding us back, and I'll put a link to that video up there somewhere. But what about forgiving yourself? That's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to look at the real cost of hanging on to that guilt and that shame. We're going to look at the freedom that finally comes when you're able to release it. And we'll look at some practical steps that will help you to get there. You know, we really make life rough on ourselves when we won't forgive ourselves. For one thing, we ruminate on that mistake over and over again, and that not only robs us of time, that actually steals our energy. We feel guilt and shame that's like heavy baggage that we won't set down, and we all know how exhausting that can be. And that guilt and shame creep into our emotions, our mood, our confidence, and our relationships. Quite often, our own guilt can cause us to push other people away without us even realizing what we're doing. Science backs this up. Research shows that holding on to guilt and self-blame leads to more stress, anxiety, and depression. But when we practice self-forgiveness, our mental health improves. We sleep better, and we recover faster from setbacks. The bottom line, carrying guilt is exhausting and it keeps us stuck in the past. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean that you excuse what happened or that you just pretend everything is fine. What it means is that you stop letting that mistake define who you are. And some of the benefits are immediate and real. First, there's the emotional relief that comes. You stop beating yourself up constantly. And then there's better mental health. You have less anxiety and you have more hope. You'll have stronger relationships. When you're kinder to yourself, you'll be kinder to other people as well. And you'll have more focus and energy because you'll stop wasting fuel dragging all that excess baggage along with you. Let's bring back that old formula, E+R=O. Event plus response equals outcome. And again, I'll put a link to a previous video up there. This time though, what we're going to do is we're going to turn that formula inward. The guilt you're carrying with you might be from something that happened years ago, a strained or a failed relationship, words that you wish you could take back, a poor financial decision that really set you back, or maybe you just didn't look after your health the way you should have. The reaction is how you've been treating yourself ever since then, replaying that scene, scolding yourself, berating yourself, calling yourself a fool or an idiot or stupid, and carrying that guilt with every step you take in life. And the outcome, more of the same. Regret, hesitation, self-sabotage. But here's where the magic happens. When you change your response, your guilt, your shame, the words you speak to yourself, you change your outcome. You stop punishing yourself and you learn from it. You move from I blew it to I grew from it. That shift opens the door to peace, confidence, and growth. Here's a simple step-by-step process that can help you forgive yourself. First of all, name it. What exactly are you feeling guilty or ashamed about, and be as specific as possible. Next, own it, but without crushing yourself. Admit your part, but do not let it define who you are or what you're worth. Next, express it. Talk to someone you trust or write yourself a letter that starts with, "I'm sorry for." And then See the big picture. What was going on in your life at that time that may have caused you to act that way? You were likely doing the best you could with what you knew and what you were experiencing. And next, practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself like you would to a friend who's hurting. You likely wouldn't talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself. Then, make amends if you can. Fix what can be fixed, or commit to doing better next time if it can't be fixed. Then, reaffirm your worth. Say it out loud. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm not my mistakes. And finally, repeat this process as needed. Forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. Be patient with yourself. And here are some traps to look out for. First, forgiving too quickly. Skipping over naming and owning it means you don't really heal. Next, excusing bad behavior. Self-forgiveness is not about denying responsibility. It's about facing that responsibility honestly. And then perfectionism. You will stumble again, and you know what? That's okay. What you're looking for is progress, not perfection. And finally, ignoring the real consequences of what you did. Forgiving yourself does not erase outcomes, but it helps you face them with courage and clarity. Now, I would love to hear from you. Have you forgiven yourself for something? And if so, how did you feel and how did you do it? Your story just might be the words that help someone else to forgive themselves. Forgiving yourself isn't erasing your past. It's learning to fly again after the turbulence ends. It's stepping out of the shadow of regret and into a sky wide open with possibilities. So if this video spoke to you, please hit like and consider sharing it with someone that you know could benefit from this idea. And let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Until then, remember, you're the pilot of this chapter of your life, so fly high in your own grace. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.